single. Data analysts at Mintel say about 60% of women are happy with their status of single, while nearly 50% of men are satisfied going solo. The study also shows that 75% of single women have not actively tried to be in a relationship in the last year, compared with about 65% of men. Here's what the study says is some of the reasoning behind it. It comes down to work, and they say that in general it shows, whether you believe this or not, or this is true in your relationship, that women do a little more work when it comes to relationships. So we're not just talking about chores and cooking and cleaning, but the emotional work, Allie, that goes into relationships as the men.
Sure, and this is for heterosexual couples. Yep. We want to emphasize that. I do think that a lot of times when you look at a marriage, a lot of the women are doing more of the household chores, and then especially nowadays, women are working just as much as men are, so then they feel like they have the burden of being responsible for children, being responsible for the household chores, and bringing home a paycheck.
Women also, they say, are better at having kind of alternative social networks. So they actually, this was interesting. I didn't know the studies show that women who don't have a partner are more active in social activities. It's the opposite for men.
If you can't find true love, work hard, make money, and enjoy your single life in peace. Nobody has ever died from being single, but so many people have died from being with the wrong partner. Life is too short to be wasting your time with the wrong person.
I'm waking up alone. The only way to describe it is just freedom and peace. To wake up and to not be in a relationship, to not have to look at someone else for worth and identity and all of that, and to just have it from him and to feel okay, be okay on your own. That's freedom, true freedom. And we get a lot of questions of like, well, how do I know when it's time for me to be in the right relationship? And I truly believe that's when you know. That's when you will be ready, when you can sit alone and be okay. Truly okay, not sitting there wishing, wanting, and needing someone for validation. When you can just be with you and God, and that's it, it's when you know you're ready. I see a lot of people and they're constantly in this dwelling feeling and just being like, when is it gonna happen? And in panic mode. Please, guys, don't waste this time. Singleness is not to be wasted. No. It is a gift.
I love being single, said no one ever. No, truly, I'm absolutely in love with being by myself. I love just being in my space. I love deciding I want to go somewhere and then just going. Don't have to check in with anybody. Get to do whatever I want, whenever I want. And I'm not saying it's all sunshines and rainbows all the time, because it's not. Literally last night, I'm thinking, dang, I really wish I was doing this activity with somebody. But then I was just grateful enough to just be doing the activity itself. When you start doing the work within yourself, the negative and the toxic habits that you used to give yourself, like me wishing or thinking this would be better with somebody else, automatically stop. So I say all that to say, enjoy being single. Enjoy finding things that you truly like to do. Take yourself out on dates. Go on solo dates. Do things that you would be doing if you were in a relationship. Because the only thing that's going to change when you get in that relationship is just having another person to do the same things that you love doing by yourself. So practice. And the way to do that is by treating yourself the way you want to be treated. So that
I'm noticing that more and more women are choosing abstinence and celibacy. And at this point, I definitely understand why. Like, between the situationships, the men not wanting to commit, the men not wanting to be honest, the down low men, and these married single men, I get it. I do. I really do. And I feel like I have really truly made the decision to work on myself and to be by myself while I'm in this transition period. Like, I feel like I'm in a weird transition period, but I've accepted it. And I feel like now is the time for me to really just focus on myself and not think about dating. I feel like I have goals and I have things that I want to do first before I actually date, because I really do want to date with a purpose. But y'all, the things that I have been seeing lately, it's just like beyond. And it's too many things out here. Like, I'm not shocked that women are choosing these things. I'm not shocked that women are content with these things. And it's some men too. Like, don't get me wrong. It is some men too that are tired of it too. And they've decided, I'm just going to be by myself. But the things that I have been seeing lately, y'all, like, if I'm being honest, like, I'm thoroughly disgusted. Like, people's feelings, they don't care about how they make people feel. It's really just, people are just out for themselves now. They don't care how they make people feel. They don't care about how they treat people. They only care about themselves. And this is, like, really sickening.
How are we supposed to balance everything? I am drowning. I wake up in the morning, I pack my kids' lunches, I drive them to school, I have to rush back so I can make it to my first meeting. My boss tells me that I'm not engaged enough on Zoom, so I have to try harder there. I spend all day doing my job where I don't even leave my desk chair. My house is falling apart. I don't even have time to take my dogs outside during the day. And somehow I'm also supposed to be working out, cooking dinner at night, eating right, helping them with homework. I spend my lunch break picking them up from school, and I don't even get 5 minutes to myself during the day. And it's not even enough. Like, I'm not doing anything 100%.
I would like to commend this lady for being honest, but this is the reason why being a wife and a mother is no longer attractive to most women. Clearly, she's exhausted and she doesn't have time for herself, and this is going to go on for a considerable number of years and take the greater part of her life. That is why when men come into my comments and be like, oh, you're going to be 50 with cats, who does not want that? Who wants to be exhausted and burnt out a greater part of their lives? And for the women who go like, oh, but when you're old, you have no one to take care of you. Imagine your children growing up, being married and having their own children, and this is their life. Do you think your children with that kind of life will also have time to take care of you? Nah, they would not. And I see a ring on her finger, and my question is, where is your husband? Is he helping out? Does he acknowledge that you are burnt out? And what is he doing to ensure that you are not burnt out and you're not giving your all? And you feel like you do not have the space to even breathe? That is the question. Men come on here, oh yeah, women don't want to get married, you don't want to have kids, but forget that the traditional roles of women have changed. These days, women are working and contributing financially to the home, and at the same time performing the domestic work, taking care of the children, keeping the house clean, cooking, and doing everything. And as a result, most women are burnt out and are not happy or fulfilled in marriage. And I hate to be the bearer of bad news, but most of you women who perform all these motherhood roles, at the end of the day, you are going to be sitting next to me in the retirement home when we are 80 years and
sure y'all tell these folks y'all learn this from me. Being single is the biggest flex. You understand me? Want me to tell you why? Because people cannot do it. It's so many people that are afraid to be by themselves because they don't want to work on themselves. They don't want to have to deal with their demons. They don't want to have to deal with those generational curses and those childhood traumas. So they use relationships as a distraction. They use relationships to fill those voids that they have in their life. You know what I'm saying? They got to have attention. They got to have somebody texting them, calling them, laying next to them, even if it ain't their person. Long as it's somebody, they'll settle for anybody, while all the while crying and whining about how they're getting a bare minimum and how they're being treated. But it's all because they don't know themselves. They have no respect for themselves, no boundaries for themselves, because they haven't taken the time that they truly needed to work on themselves. Being single is a flex. It's a huge flex.
So we talk about a lot of things on TikTok, but can we talk about how there are a lot of women creators on this app whose husbands are on the down low? So see, I feel like being a little meshy this morning. Like, y'all remember Kelly Stamps on YouTube? Being meshy, right? I don't know why. I'm in a good mood. The sun's shining, right? Yeah. And I get on TikTok and I see these women, and they always come in for child-free women who are single. And they're always saying little things like, you guys are miserable. They're able to see that we're miserable. They're able to see in the future that we're going to regret not having kids. They're able to see that we need therapy, but they're unable to see that their husband prefers to S a D, and they're pretending. They're pretending to be straight. Why can't y'all see that? Because to me, it's like a glaring, flashing red light before a bridge. It's obvious as fuck, right? But you can't see it because you're too busy in child-free women's spaces and single women's business to notice the rainbow husband that you have, right? And so I just wonder, are you guys really this oblivious? Or do you secretly know, but you're willing to turn the other cheek because you want to be able to keep saying, my husband, right? Because you think you're flexing on single women and you're not. Nowadays, we feel sorry for you. I know I do. I'm going to probably do a live later where I'm going to talk about the fact that, you know, marriage is a slave contract and stuff like that. But that's the whole other topic. Let's talk about the fact that a lot of you women creators on here as husbands are on the down low. You shouldn't be worried about what a child-free woman is doing or a single woman is doing. You need to be finding your husband's phone and going through his porn history, right? Or finding that hidden file on his phone that seems like it's innocent enough, but it's really not. It's a hidden file. And trust me, all men have one. Husband, single, bachelor, whoever, they all got some hidden shit on their phone. If you can even get into it in the first place, because most men have locks on their phones. And even if you have his code, I promise you, there's an email you don't know about. There's a secret second phone that you don't know about. There is a hidden file that looks like it's something to do with the bank or something or whatever, but it's really, you know, pictures of peens and other women's boobs and all types of stuff, like stuff that they don't want you to see. Okay? I can assure you, I will bet you the next 2 years of my salary that a lot of you are either going to find out secretly or it's going to be exposed publicly that your husbands are on the down low. Whether it's going to be a T woman exposing them or just a normal rainbow dude that gets in his feelings and chooses to expose him. And some of y'all live in cities, where it's known that most of the men are on the down low. And then y'all be the main ones getting on social media trying to clown on single women, talking about, oh, you guys are miserable, or you're just mad because you don't have a husband and that's why you guys are not going to be chosen, and blah, blah. And you live in a city where, I'm sorry, but the first thing I think about when women say they have a husband from this particular city, so first thought of my mind is, I wonder is he on the down low? But I have taken a look at some of y'all's husbands. One look. And I know. And I'm here to tell you, as Cleo's niece, that I am rarely ever wrong. Anytime I've ever had suspicions about a man being on the down low, I have always turned out to be correct. Now, some of y'all need to go through your husband's stuff and find the answers that you should be seeking. You shouldn't be worried about child-free women and what we're doing. Right? You shouldn't. Okay? Go find out who your husband's seeing behind your back, what type of corn he's into, and find that man.
I've seen a post that said men will cheat on women that are good for their souls with women that are good for their image. And I'm just about to shit myself. 9 times out of 10, the person that's cheating is hiding who they're cheating with. It can't be that good for your image if you hiding it. And the person that you're cheating on can't be that good for your soul if you're trying to destroy them. So many times we internalize the reasons we're being cheated on. Well, did I cook enough? Should I have dressed up more? You didn't do shit wrong, but pick a person who lacks self-control, self-discipline, respect for you, and respect for themselves. We've seen some of the best men get cheated on, some of the baddest women get cheated on, some of the most awesome parents in the world be cheated on. Person cheats because they don't have respect for their partner or their relationship. Cheating is selfish. You'd rather give in to your temptations and desires rather than be faithful and save the relationship that you claim means the world to you. It's gonna trigger all the cheaters, but listen, do what you do. Let's just stop making excuses for it and call it what it is.
She is a single wife. Yeah, you heard that correctly. In every aspect of your marriage, she feels all by herself. Like I said, she's a single wife. She wants someone to have fun with, to spend a weekend away, doing something completely different. She wants someone who comes home at the end of the day and is present with her. Someone who doesn't ignore her for the rest of the night. She wants someone who's excited to see her every time she walks through that door. She doesn't want a roommate. She wants a husband to share life with her. Yeah. She may have a ring on her finger and legally she may be married to you. But I'm telling you, she's a single wife.
So I am married. I've been married for 17 years. I've been in a relationship for 20 years. I'm 52. And I have been absolutely obsessed with watching all the single girls' 5 to 9s after their 9 to 5. And the reason why I'm so obsessed with watching them, because I am filled with absolute envy and jealousy about what these women are doing. And I'm jealous because when I was single, I never did anything like that. I didn't get married until I was 35 years old. So that means I was single for a very long time in my young adulthood. And I really considered that time at the time as like a placeholder kind of event. Meaning that in my mind, I wasn't really living life. I mean, I was working, I had boyfriends, I was going out, I was doing things, but I didn't put any real investment in that time because to me, it wasn't a real life that I was living. I was just kind of going through the motions in a way until I could live my real life, which is when I got married. Because in my mind, that single time wasn't a real time. It was just kind of waiting out the time until I met the man that I was going to marry, have children, and then I was going to have a real life. Now, all of these years later, married for such a long time with 2 daughters, and I'm scrolling on TikTok and looking at these single women I was those women, but they are enjoying and reveling in the time, the peace, the calm, the self-care that being single is. Not having to worry about catering to a mate, not worrying about what your partner thinks, not having to take care of children, not having to manage a household for all these people. Just coming home and being able to make your choices that are self-care, that are affirming, that's your time, your peace, and like literally enjoying and valuing that time. I never did it. I thought it was a waste of time. I thought I was just going through the motions until I could live the real life, which was marriage. And I've been living that real life for 17 years. And I'm so tired and I'm so exhausted. And today I woke up, I've been sick all day, but I haven't been able to really take care of myself or rest and relax because I have so much I have to do. I'm vicariously living through those women, posting those lives and thinking about what if.
The real reason why most women are single today is because they don't want to deal with the BS of today's man. They have realized that most of the so-called men, they are not ready for an adult woman who wants a serious relationship. I mean, come on. You're 30 years old, 40 years old, 50 plus years old, and you are still running around here playing games. You have the mind of a child. You're still stuck in high school. Let's be honest. She is that woman, meaning that she's highly intelligent, she's strong, she's successful, and she's attractive. Why would she want to raise a man-child? She is looking for someone she can create with, someone she could build with. She doesn't have time.
Video that went viral recently about how women are prioritizing peace over low-grade, low-effort relationships with men. And the number one comment that I got from men was, well, fine, if you can live without us, we're just not going to protect you anymore. So first of all, who exactly are you protecting us from? Is it Sarah that we're afraid is going to break into our home and assault us? Or is it men? Is it men that you're protecting us from? Secondly, when women say that we'd rather have peace and safety, we're not talking about physical safety. We're talking about emotional safety. The reason there is an epidemic of lonely, depressed men is because women would rather be alone than in an emotionally unsafe relationship. I feel that we're in emotional danger when we can't be vulnerable and express how we feel, or being constantly criticized or put down or ignored. Or all the men run to the comments and say, well, we want to be valued too. Yes, and you deserve that. But why are 72% of divorces initiated by women? And why statistically are women thriving in singledom and men are not? It's because women en masse are willing to put in the work, be self-reflective, and do what it takes to show up, and men simply are not. A video that went viral recently.
For the single men out there who keep wondering why women are opting out of marriage and why so many women are content being single, my answer is going to surprise you. Believe it or not, it's the married men and women. That's what's keeping the women single. Every day on this app, we watch a little bit of rage baiting with a married woman showing how her husband weaponizes his incompetence. They've read the Facebook post where you wish your woman a happy anniversary, but you brag about how you put her through this and that, all the ups and downs, how you completely dogged her out, but through it all, she stuck by your side. And we also see the 40% of married men who are on the dating apps. We watch these married men cosplay as single men all the time. They don't like seeing that these men can't be faithful, and a wedding ring and some wedding vows doesn't change that man. So if you're out here and you're wondering why the single women are so happily opting to remain single, and you're like, what's the problem? What happened? Is it social media? Is it the dating apps? Is it Kevin Samuels? Is it feminism? They realize that some of these happily ever after stories look miserable behind closed doors. They've seen what 5, 10, 15, 20 years of a man's weaponized incompetence can do to a woman. Married men and women are one of the biggest reasons why women are remaining single. Some of them have seen you and your life and what you put up with in order to keep that man, and they say it's not worth it.
Why do intelligent women, or so many of them, remain single or prefer to be single? It's a great question. And when we're dealing with any person that's intelligent, they know themselves. They've done a deeper level of work on themselves. They have learned to love themselves. A better boundary. In other words, they are going to own their nose. When someone unhealthy or toxic enters their life, they're not going to lean into them and say, yes, how can I please you? How can I help you? How can I support you? How can I maximize your needs and minimize mine? They've done a level of self-work on themselves. They are self-sufficient. They are less reliant on men. They aren't going to tolerate bullshit. They aren't going to tolerate games. As a result of that, they're not choosing the same kind of partnership over and over again and wondering why is this happening. They've made the unconscious patterns and trauma in their lives conscious. They've actually equilibrated and worked with their trauma. And that really is, intelligence is a very layered conversation and a very layered concept. But when we're talking about relational intelligence and emotional intelligence in relationship, it is vested and grounded in self-love. It is vested and grounded in moving beyond the patterns of the past and being survival patterns and into patterns of thriving. These intelligent women, and this is what I admire so much about them, are not only curious about their own lives, but they're not willing to settle. So they're happy to be single and they can find and create joy in their world outside of needing partnership. So partnership becomes a desire and a healthy partnership becomes a priority. What are your thoughts on that?
A woman is single for a long time, like 2 years, 3 years or more. It ain't because something's wrong with her, most likely. More than likely, it's because she's intelligent. And that's not to say women who are in relationships or marriages or that get in these relationships quickly are just dumb. What I'm saying is intelligent women, they have the smallest dating pool because they have the least amount of tolerance for BS. Like an intelligent woman cannot stomach a man who can't teach her anything. And because she's intelligent, there are very few men who can. An intelligent woman can't tolerate a man that can't mentally stimulate her or that she has to explain every little thing to. An intelligent woman, she's the most likely to be insulted by a man who thinks that he can play in her face like she's dumb. So they ain't gonna last. And then add to the fact that, yes, she's intelligent, so therefore she gathers information and she acts on it more effectively than most, which means she's not going to continue repeating the same bad relationship over and over again with a different man for years on end. She'd just rather be single. And then intelligent women perform better in the job market and have more successful businesses, so they're the least likely to depend on the man to be their meal ticket. But what I really love about these women is that they're also not easily rattled by that whole, you gonna die alone, you gonna be single until you die, because they're smart enough to understand it's better to be happy until you die alone than to live miserably every single day feeling like you're dying inside. A woman is...
Things I love about being single. my friend was like, oh, like I'm so lonely. I wish I had someone, yada, yada, yada. So I'm going to tell you why we should be grateful for why me and you, I bet you're single, why we should be grateful about it. Number one, learning more about yourself. We get to learn about what we like to do in our spare time. We get to learn about what we like to do when nobody else is watching. We get to learn about everything, how we feel, what we are in our loneliness. What do we want when we're lonely? How are we going to react to certain things? Everything. We learn what our hobbies are, what we do in our spare time. Literally everything. We learn so much about ourselves. Number two, the freedom. Honestly, I think that's the best one, but the freaking freedom that we get from it. We do not have to sit there and wait if he's going to text us back and think, oh my gosh, how long? Is he even going to text me today? When's he going to text me back? No. The freedom that we have to think of nothing. We don't need to worry about what he's doing. Is he cheating on us? Who cares? Because he's not there. We do not need to worry about anything. We have that freedom. We can go out. We can make out with whoever we want. We can do whatever we want. We can give a number to whoever we want because we have that freedom. Number three, we get to better ourselves. We get to literally go to the gym whenever we want. We can eat whatever we want. We don't have to go out on dates if we don't feel like it. We can go on dates when it's our cheat day. We can pick and choose that. We can literally have all the time in the world to better ourselves. Get better at your job. Get better at your hobby. Go to the gym more. Get more tighter. Get more lean. Do your thing. Number four, we all know that scared feeling that we get when we think something's wrong or someone is losing interest or someone's cheating on us or whatever. That pit that you have in your stomach. No. When we're single, we don't have that. We do not have that because we're not worrying about anyone. And last but not least, number five, we don't know anyone anything. We don't need to tell anyone where we're going, what we're doing, how we're feeling, how much we're spending on anything. Literally anything. We do not owe anything to anyone. So be happy if you're single, okay? Because this is your time to thrive.
I'm waking up alone. The only way to describe it is just freedom and peace. To wake up and to not be in a relationship, to not have to look at someone else for worth and identity and all that, and to just have it from him and to feel okay, be okay on your own. That's freedom. True freedom. And we get a lot of questions of well, how do I know when it's time for me to be in the right relationship? And I truly believe that's when you know. That's when you will be ready, when you can sit alone and be okay. Truly okay, not sitting there wishing, wanting, and needing someone for validation. When you can just be with you and God and that's it, it's when you know you're ready. I see a lot of people and they're constantly in this dwelling feeling and just being when is it gonna happen, and in panic mode. Please, guys, don't waste this time. Singleness is not to be wasted. It is a gift.
It is so weird how some women use marriage to shame other women, as if being married is the ultimate accomplishment. Believe it or not, but getting married is actually very easy. What's hard is marrying someone who is actually worth marrying. So to all the married women who love spending their days shaming single women, what you need to realize is those single women you're shaming wouldn't have dated your husband if they were paid to. And you could argue that, oh, my husband is such a catch. That's cap. If he was such a catch and you were so happy in your marriage, you'd be spending your days loving on your husband, not being worried about what single women are doing. Happy married people are so busy minding their business because they're living their best lives. The people who spout the most BS are the miserable married people. They gossip as a form of escapism. Long story short, getting married or being married is not the achievement. The achievement is having a healthy, long-lasting, happy marriage. And if you really had one of those, you wouldn't be such a pressed panini, negative Nancy, would ya? It is so weird how...
What hurts the most is when you're married, but you still feel lonely. Imagine two people that used to be in love, wedding vows, put a wedding ring on each other, had a house together, kids, did everything, knows their ins and outs. They're complete strangers to each other. They live in the same household, but they don't even recognize each other. They don't acknowledge each other. In reality, living with two people that used to love each other is now a thing in the past, destroys each other as well. There's no more communication. There's no more love. There's no more affection. There's no more I love you. There's no more text messages. All there is loneliness. He leaves, then comes back at different odd hours. She stays and cries every single time. And the only time she has peace is when he's gone, so she can cry in peace. Marriage lonely hits different more than anything else. I'm going to tell you right now. If you're going through this, you got to realize that it's time to move on. And you both need to be grown adults and move on. But if one person doesn't want to agree to it and make it difficult for you, it's going to be a lot harder for you to get away. I'm going to pray for you.
She is a single wife. Yeah, you heard that correctly. In every aspect of your marriage, she feels all by herself. Like I said, she's a single wife. She wants someone to have fun with, to spend a weekend away, doing something completely different. She wants someone who comes home at the end of the day and is present with her. Someone who doesn't ignore her for the rest of the night. She wants someone who's excited to see her every time she walks through that door. She doesn't want a roommate. She wants a husband to share life with her. Yeah. She may have a ring on her finger and legally she may be married to you. But I'm telling you, she's a single wife.
Let me say this. Everybody who is married is not happy, and everybody who married did not marry because they were in love. Some people married for the wrong reasons. Some people married because they didn't want to be alone. Some people married because they could not afford to do it by themselves. That's why they are continuously stepping out on the relationship. So stop looking at you being single as a horrible thing and everybody that's married is happy, because there are a lot of people who are married who are miserable because they married for the wrong reasons or they hooked up with the wrong one. Stop putting yourself down because you are alone and by yourself, because just because you are alone does not mean that you are lonely, because there are a lot of people who have someone in their bed and still feeling lonely at night. Stop being so hard on yourself and pick your head up.
The pain of marrying the wrong person is worse than your present fear of not getting married.
When you realize the importance of this life you're living and the magnitude of the purpose that you're meant to fulfill on this earth, marrying the wrong person becomes the most terrifying thing that you could ever do. I am 31 right now. I am single, and not for lack of men. You know, I think that's the other thing that we really need to talk about is the scarcity mindset around men being available. Men are not scarce. If my standards were in the core of the earth that low, I could be married by December, which is like 3 months away. But understanding that my life and the connection I make to someone is going to directly affect the trajectory of what I'm meant to do on this earth, I am so willing to wait. And this is just encouragement for everyone out there. Your life, what you're meant to do, can be bolstered or hindered by who you join forces with. And it is in your best interest, in my opinion, to be single at 31 like me, waiting for the perfect person to align with what you want. Perfectly imperfect, of course, before people try to yell it at me in the comments. It's better to wait for that person than to jump into something because the clock is ticking and then 3-4 years from now be divorced, or 30-40 years from now have lived a mediocre life where you look at that person and you resent the air they breathe because they have stopped you from living the life you truly deserve. And this goes the other way as well. I don't want to be with someone who I don't see the value in what you're doing. I don't see the purpose. I'm not going to support you because my lackluster reactions to someone who I'm that close with will influence their ability to push in that thing. And if I don't care about it and I'm not trying and I'm not supporting you and I'm not encouraging you, you're going to slow down or you're going to be angry at me and I'm not going to be happy either. So take your time. I don't know what else to say. Take your time. Being single and fulfilled while you actively wait for the person who is meant for you is better than rushing into something to hit a checkbox of age, hating it, and then coming out of it, having to deal with the trauma of recovery from it, and then being by yourself anyway.
A report shows that by 2030, 45% of working women ages 25 to 45 will be non-married, no kids. And you might say, well, what's wrong with that? If you think that you're going to be 45 years old, no kids, not married, and that you're going to genuinely be fulfilled in life because you made money.
So who's going to tell them? Who's going to tell them that a lot more women are embracing the rich auntie lifestyle because they're tired of men and their weaponized incompetence? I know some men think that it should be the honor of your life to marry them and take care of them like a child, cook for them, clean for them, do the laundry, all of that, take care of them and their offspring. That's the honor of your life. That's the reason you were created. Like, now your life has meaning. It's all projection. They're the ones who are afraid of growing old and dying alone. But they'll try to tell you that, no, that's what you're afraid of. How could you possibly be happy with all that money? To travel, to see the world with? It's not like, as a single woman, she still couldn't entertain a man if she wants. She doesn't have to marry one. She doesn't have to have a kid with one. She can just entertain one, go on some random dates if that's what she wants. Like, we realize that with the marriage comes a lot of responsibility for her. She is expected to do so much. And a lot of these women these days would rather take on 100% of the financial responsibility, 100% of the domestic skills in a house, rather than do it for you and get nothing in return for it, because you still want her to pay bills. So she's single, in her 30s or 40s, unmarried, child-free, with lots and lots of money to do whatever she wants to do with, nobody to answer to, no responsibilities to anyone except herself. It kind of sounds like you're threatening these women with a good time to me.